Hello. All right. Great. So, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Min Fong, and I'm the founder of Bongalo. We were one of the beneficiaries of the first ever Black Founders Fund in Africa, and we thought it wise to share our experience and probably, help you guys who are interested in applying this year to the fund, so that you can all be beneficiaries of it as well, to grow your businesses as well as expand to different places. I'll just go. So basically, the fund is basically just a Google for Startup initiative. Excuse me. Share the slide. Yeah. So it's Google for Startup is an initiative that is. You can't hear me? Can you guys hear me? Anyone else who can hear me? Oh, okay. Thank you. So, Google for Startup Black Founders Fund Africa is basically supporting early stage Black founded startups on the continent. It aims to bridge the gap between it bridge the funding gap between African startups that really struggle to find funding. So it is an initiative of Google that started in the US, extended to South America, went to Europe as well. Then they decided to bring it as well to Africa. Last year was the first cohort of this fund, and they decided to extend it to this year again. So last year was basically 3 million fund, and this year it's actually 4 million fund to invest in 60 startups. So last year was rather 50 startups, and Bongalo was one of the beneficiaries. We got $100,000 from Google, as well as some other startups got $50,000. So the fund is basically a non-dilutive 4 million. What do we mean here by non-dilutive? It means that if when you get this money, Google does not take any equity in your company. So it's actually money that you don't get to pay anything back to Google in any form. And this year they're investing in 60 startups instead of 50 that happened last year. So there's been an increment of 10. And then each startup can get up to $100,000 in equity-free cash. So this means that you basically are able to get either 50,000 or 100,000, depending on the stage of funding. If you've received funding before, or depending on your product development, if they see the need that you need more money, that is something that is basically being determined by them. And then 200,000 in Google Cloud credit. So this means this is basically Google Cloud credit that is valid for 1 year. To build your technology and deploy to the cloud. Last year, we had the $100,000 in Google Cloud credits and $120,000 in Google Ads. So this year they've really pushed away the Google Ads and decided to stay just with the credits. So you also get access to the best of Google's people, products, and practices. So this means basically that you are able to schedule mentorship with Google employees, which is what we did throughout the program. You decide which one you want to talk to in terms of human resource, product development, marketing, different people at Google that you can speak to help you, guide you on your startup. You schedule mentorship programs, as well as there are also sessions that happen during the whole period. So yeah, next please. Um, to be eligible for the fund, you need to really understand the eligibility before you decide to apply for the fund, because it will be a waste of time to apply and then get nothing in return, or just waste your time out there. Basically, they are only targeting 13 African countries at the moment. They say this is based on the tech activity in those different markets. So they are targeting Botswana, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. So these are the different countries that are eligible to apply. If your business is having a legal presence in any of these countries, then you're eligible to apply. Even if your business is registered in any of these countries, but the market you're operating in a different market is quite okay, you can apply as much as you have a legal representation in any of these countries. If you have a business that is registered in a different country out of this country, country and you also have a subsidiary in these countries, you can as well apply. So you must know that you qualify in terms of eligibility, in terms of country, because but they said that also that they are looking for strong status, that if you are out of these countries, you can also apply if you are having a strong solution that meets the rest of their requirements, and they could consider you just in case. So do not limit yourself if you fall into this type of category. So also the startups, to be eligible, you must be headquartered in Africa or has a legal presence on the continent. So this basically means that if your business is registered in the US but at least has an African headquarters, you can apply. You must be building for Africa and the global market. So your focus should be Africa, and you're looking at expanding to other markets in the future. Exactly our case, as I'll explain further. So you must be creating jobs and able to show growth potential to raise more funding and making an impact. This means that you probably have employed some people already. So a one-man business is very unlikely to be accepted based on what they say. So it means that you must have a team that maybe 3 to 5 of you, or two people working on something. So creating jobs directly or indirectly. So meaning that you have a potential to scale and raise more funding as well. So you can apply. So another thing that they look about very much seriously is the founding team. So the founding team must be diverse with at least one black C-level founding member. This means that at least somebody on the on the management should be a black person. So even if you have a white person who is your partner on the business, you can still apply if you are a C-level manager or a founder and you're black. So basically, that is the process, and and you must be supporting Black people directly, Black community directly. So yeah, and then technical requirements. Your startup must be you having a product that is already live in the market, or a business where technology is core to to their ability to scale. This means that you're using a software to you be live in the market. You've already built a platform or an app that is live in the market, and you can be able to scale accordingly. So they say initiatives like consultancy and non-for-profits are not eligible to apply. So you must be also compatible with Google products, or can accelerate Google products and accelerate your growth. What are Google products? You talk of Firebase, Google Cloud, Google Flutter, Google Workspace, and so many other things that you can think about when it comes to Google products. So you must, for example, you can be building, a hardware solution, and you think you're eligible because you are not going to maybe have compatibility with Google products, but cloud products, platforms, all those different solution applications you can apply. So yeah, that's very important. So the application process is quite straightforward. When you submit your application, I think they will respond to you in like 2 to 3 weeks. Uh, they will respond to you like 2 to 3 weeks, and you hear the next phase. Either you've been selected or not. Now, the next phase is basically due diligence. Due diligence, they will just collect information from you from most of the things that you submitted. So if they see you have passed the first eligibility steps, they will ask you to submit things like your uh, uh, business registration, your founders' profiles that show that you are actually Africans working on it and stuff like that. Also, they'll pass you to the interview stage. And then after that interview stage, they will announce. For us, I'm not sure, but I think that if you get to the interview stage, there is low chance that they will let you go. They might only have you to win, because very few people get to the interview stage after the first due diligence stage. Some people lie in the application in the first place, and then in the second stage, they're not able to defend that. And then in that case, now they cannot go to the interview stage. So you have to be very mindful of what you submit in the first stage, moving on, and then hopefully you get to the next stage. And during the interview, now you know that you're one step closer to getting accepted into the fund. So after the interview, they make an announcement. After the interview, I think it takes like 1 week maximum. They give the process is really fast. So just know that you're not going to spend so much time waiting to hear from them. They are really active, and once the first 2 weeks passes, they are able to let you know the outcome of your application and stuff like that. So after the announcement, the program proper begins. So the first stage of the program, this is now for people obviously who get to the last stage and are accepted into the program. Hopefully, I get to hear that most of you here got accepted and you're part of it. So the first program, the program proper runs for 6 months with 6 months of mentorship, regular meetups, or rather online meetings to speak with people, sessions, different sessions organized by experts at Google, guiding you on your business, having a founders lab that we get to talk to founders from different startup backgrounds and all of that as well. So during the 6 months, you get your funding. The funding comes in two tranches. Even if you got 50,000, they're going to give you first 60%, and then they'll send you the next 40% later. It's all deposited in your company's bank account. It's not in your private bank account. So you get that funding in two tranches, 6%, 60 and 40%. You get mentorship. There is a platform that you book mentorship with the different Google employees, and they get to speak to you. My best part of the program was the mentorship. Even though we got the money, but I got to speak to so many different Google employees that really gave insight on our product development, so many different things. I enjoyed the mentorship more than even just the whole funding and other parts of the program. So you get to, for us, we got credit. You get to onboarded by the Google Ads expert who Google partners with to run the program. For your ads credit, you get created an ads account where you get to run your ads for your company, and then you get also to meet during different sessions with founders, and also you get to communicate with different founders. You can have one-on-ones is during sessions as well. So I guess that's it. Just a rundown of it. And the most important part of this is to take your questions so that we can be able to, answer them for you. So you might drop your questions in the question box or just drop them in the chat, and then Bamidele will be able to read it out and we can answer them for you. Ask as much questions as possible. So I guess if your startup is not legally registered, you will need to get registered because there are no funding companies that they don't. It could just be anything. And where are they going to send you money if you get accepted? So you need to be legally registered so that you can get a company bank account and all of that together once you succeed. So I don't think it's necessary. It's very possible for you to get through the fund if you're not legally registered. Because even in the next stage of the due diligence, they're going to ask you for your company registration. So that is completely a no. You need to be registered. So the next if your headquarters is, come again. What if your headquarters is in Europe, but you have subsidiary in Africa, that is Cameroon? I guess that for that particular question, It would be a bit tricky for you to have headquarters in Europe and then go through the fund in Cameroon. I guess they mentioned that you must be headquartered in an African country, right? So that is very necessary to take note about.
All right. The next question is do they ask for business plan, pitch deck, and financial analysis?
So for us, they didn't ask us for business plan. They only asked us for pitch deck in the first application. And then financials, they didn't ask for a financial document. They only asked for some key revenues for us to submit, if I remember very well. Yeah.
All right. The next question is the amount of revenue, does the amount of revenue matter for the application?
No, the revenue doesn't matter, but you must be generating revenue. So it is not supposed to have a maximum amount of revenue, a minimum one, but you must be generating revenue.
Next question is does the company have to be incorporated in US for you to receive funding?
I don't know if that person is late, but we said it in the call that you must be headquartered in Africa instead. So if you're asking if it has to be registered in the US for you to get funding, I think that is a little bit out of topic here. You don't need to be registered in the US. You rather need to be headquartered in Africa. If you have a registration in the US, you should rather have an African entity that you can use to apply with to be eligible.
What is Google Cloud Credit used for?
If you are a tech company, then that question answers itself for you. And a tech company should are the ones that are qualified for this funding. Google Cloud credits are where you deploy your resources to the cloud, basically hosting your platform or your application and other resources that you have as a tech company.
The next question is does it matter the type of structure, sole proprietorship, or must it be a public limited company?
Public limited companies are government corporations. So yeah, I think what you meant there was private limited company. I think that sole proprietorship is not accepted because it must be an entity that is registered and running as a partnership business that has at least one or two to two co-founders. So sole proprietorship, you could be a business but still registered as a partnership. You could be a sole co-founder, but still registered as a partnership business. So I don't think sole proprietorship type of business like a store is regular to apply as a tech company.
Right. The next question is does an edutech startup stand a chance?
Of course, absolutely. If you're in edge tech and you think your company can scale and go across the globe, and you are compatible with Google's product, and you have traction, users, revenue, and you have a product already live in the market, so obviously you should apply.
But the next question is can you talk about the video that we should do? Is there a format that you recommend?
Uh, I think someone asked about in your opinion, does an age, okay, following through Bungalows application, what can you say made you guys do that? So we didn't stand out in a particular way. We just met the criteria that we were, or we had a live product. We had released our platform since 2020. So we have users and we were building for Africa, and we were already even using Google Workspace. We were also using Google Maps, Google Cloud, Google Translation APIs, so many Google products. So we were really compatible with Google products, and we were headquartered in Africa. We had a live product in the market. We had traction in terms of users and revenue as well. So that's what made us stood out, basically, as I can say. So about the video, someone asked about the video. About the video, there is absolutely no format. If they ask you for a video, it's just for you to tell how your company is going to impact the African continent, or how why you should be accepted for the fund. For me, I didn't say anything abstract. I just said what I thought was necessary and what was really true. So you need to be honest and tell what is true, relating it to what your company actually is doing.
So someone is asking if they can see your pitch decks.
Well, that you're not an investor, it will be very difficult for us to show you our pitch deck. And this session wasn't meant to help you to go through your pitch deck. So maybe you could consult some maybe advisors to help you to look at your pitch deck and help you to structure it. It's very unfortunate that we can't share that with you.
All right, so the next question is following up with your answer on the sole proprietorship, do you advise we change the status to a partnership now? When is the latest date for application?
The deadline for application is on the 31st of May. So that's next week, obviously. You don't need to change it now. You can, if it's something you can do in one day, you can apply and then change it while you're waiting for the results. Because obviously, after the first stage, which is application, if you get to the second stage, they're going to ask you for your company documents. So that is when you can supply the new document that your company is registered with. But make sure not to change the name from what you apply with to something else that when they will ask you for the document, is not going to correspond.
So thank you all for your questions. If you have any other question that